What they feels when you stop looking for them, make them miss you. Stoicism. Sometimes in our absence, we are more powerful than in our presence. Unknown. Welcome back to Stoic in Your Life. Have you ever paused to consider what truly happens when you stop seeking someone's attention? It's intriguing how the dynamic of a relationship can shift entirely when you withdraw your focus. Today, we're exploring the Stoic approach to this phenomenon, how stepping back, not out of spite or manipulation, but out of respect for your own value, can change everything. This isn't about playing games or trying to make someone miss you. It's about understanding that your worth doesn't depend on their recognition. By embracing this Stoic wisdom, you allow space for others to realize what your presence truly meant. It's in this space that your absence speaks louder than words, often making the heart grow fonder in ways that mere closeness cannot achieve. So today we're not just discussing the idea of stepping back. We're talking about reclaiming your power with a force so impactful it leaves a lasting impression. Think about the inner strength it takes to redirect your attention away from others and focus solely on your own growth. To rise above the chaos and let your silence speak louder than any words could. This isn't merely about making them feel your absence. It's about transforming yourself into someone so resilient, so self-assured, that the void you leave behind is undeniable. Every principle we explore today is a stepping stone towards becoming someone who commands respect and admiration, someone who is missed not because they disappeared, but because they've become stronger in their absence. This is your time to rise, to prove to yourself and others that your worth is immeasurable. Before we dive into the details, I have a challenge for you, one that will set the tone for everything we're about to discuss. If you're ready to step into your power and let your silence echo louder than any words, drop a comment below with the phrase, "My absence will speak for me." This isn't just a statement, it's a declaration of your strength, your resolve, and your commitment to becoming unforgettable. It's time to show the world, and yourself, that you're not just stepping back. You're stepping up in a way that will make your absence impossible to ignore. Let's see how many of you are ready to embrace this powerful shift and make your presence undeniable, even when you're not physically there. Ready, Stoic friends? Let's get started. Before we delve into these 10 key points, let's begin with a thought experiment that will set the foundation for what's to come. Imagine you are the sun in someone's life. You provide the warmth that brightens their day and the energy that fuels their happiness. Now picture what happens when that sun suddenly disappears. The world becomes colder, a bit dimmer. The once taken for granted warmth is now a distant memory, and the absence is felt more deeply with each passing day. What do you think happens next? Do they simply move on, or do they start to realize the value of what they've lost? Now consider someone in your life who used to be a significant part of your daily routine, perhaps a friend, a partner, or a colleague. Think about how often you used to interact with them, the little messages, the quick phone calls, the casual encounters. Now, imagine that all of a sudden, those interactions stop. Not because of a disagreement, but because you chose to step back and focus on yourself. How do you think they would feel? What thoughts would cross their mind as the days pass and the usual conversations don't happen? Would they miss you? Would they start to wonder where you've gone, why you've gone silent? You might be wondering, if someone walks away and becomes absent, isn't there a chance that they'll forget about me entirely? Won't my absence just push them further away? This is a common concern, but it's important to understand that this strategy isn't about disappearing completely. It's not about vanishing from their life to the point where they move on without a second thought. Instead, it's about creating a subtle yet powerful shift in the dynamics of your relationship. By stepping back, you're not removing yourself entirely. You're creating space for them to reflect, to realize, and to feel the impact of your absence. This isn't about being absent forever. It's about making your presence felt more strongly by stepping away just enough for them to grasp what life is like without you in it. Think of it like a beautiful painting. Sometimes stepping back allows you to see the full picture and appreciate its true value. This is the heart of our discussion today. We're not talking about playing hard to get. We're talking about the transformative power of creating space. When you stop looking for someone, when you pull back your attention, something profound happens. The dynamics shift, their perception of you begins to change, and in that shift, they start to feel the weight of your absence, perhaps more intensely than you ever imagined. Think about the last time you lost something valuable, maybe a cherished piece of jewelry or a sentimental memento. Remember the pang of loss, the regret of not appreciating it more when it was yours? This is the same feeling that begins to creep into the minds of those who took your presence for granted. The difference is, unlike that lost item, you have the power to choose when or if you re-enter their lives. So before we jump into the 10 insights that will break down exactly what they feel when you stop looking for them, take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Think about the times when someone's absence made you realize their true value. What emotions did you go through? What thoughts lingered in your mind? Hold on to those feelings because they're the key to understanding what happens on the other side when you decide to take a step back. Now let's uncover the 10 powerful emotions and realizations they experience when you stop seeking their attention. Number 1. The shock of silence. Sometimes the loudest message we can send is through silence. As the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you decide to step back and create a void where your presence once was, the first thing they experience is the shock of silence. Consider this. You've always been the reliable one, the person who initiates contact, plans events, and checks in to see how their day is going. Your presence has been a constant, like the steady hum of background music that they've become accustomed to. But one day, you decide to stop. No more morning texts, no more making plans, just silence. The impact is immediate, like entering a room where the music has abruptly stopped. The silence is palpable, and for the first time, they sense that something significant is missing. This silence isn't just about the absence of your voice or your messages. It's a profound realization that the rhythm of their life, which they had unconsciously tied to your presence, has suddenly changed. It's the kind of shock that comes when someone who was always there suddenly isn't, forcing them to confront the gap left behind. They may not have fully appreciated your role before, but now, with your absence, they are confronted with the stark reality of what life is like without you in it. As the days go by and the silence persists, they begin to wonder, what happened? Why aren't they reaching out? Did I do something wrong? This sudden shift in their routine catches them off guard, disrupting the comfortable normalcy they had taken for granted. The silence grows louder, almost deafening, and in that quiet, they start to feel the weight of your absence. It's a moment that echoes the wisdom of the poet Rumi, who said, "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." In this case, the quieter you become, the more they hear the void left by your withdrawal. Now, it's natural to question, but what if they don't care? What if my absence wasn't significant to them in the first place? This is a fear many of us have, and it's a valid concern. But here's the crucial insight. If they truly don't notice your absence, if it doesn't cause even the slightest ripple, then that itself is a powerful revelation. It tells you that perhaps this relationship wasn't as meaningful as you believed it to be. While this realization can be painful, it also provides clarity, allowing you to move forward with a deeper understanding of where you truly stand. Think of it like being at a symphony where one of the instruments suddenly stops playing. If the music continues without any noticeable change, it suggests that the instrument wasn't essential to the performance. However, if the absence leaves a noticeable gap, if the music feels incomplete without it, then you understand the true importance of that instrument. The same is true for relationships. If your absence goes unnoticed, then perhaps your role wasn't as integral as you thought. And while that might be tough to acknowledge, it's also freeing. It allows you to seek connections where your presence is valued and appreciated. However, in most cases, the shock of silence does make a significant impact. It disrupts the usual flow, causing them to reflect on their feelings, and often leading to a deeper appreciation of the role you played in their life. They begin to realize that your presence wasn't just a convenience. It was a source of comfort, stability, and connection. As they sit with this newfound awareness, your absence begins to speak volumes, echoing in their thoughts and making them understand just how much they miss having you around. This shock of silence serves as a powerful wake-up call, the first step in shifting the dynamics of your relationship. It's a moment where they are forced to take stock, to reconsider what they had, and to recognize that maybe, just maybe, they took you for granted. And in that realization, the seeds of longing and appreciation begin to grow. It's the kind of realization that the Stoic philosopher Seneca might have referred to when he said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." In this case, even to step back, to allow the silence to do the talking requires courage. But it's in that space that true transformation begins, not just in them, but in you as well. In modern life, we're often afraid of being forgotten, of becoming insignificant when we step back. But the truth is, by creating space and allowing silence to fill the gap, you're giving others the opportunity to realize your value. And if they do, you've strengthened the bond in a way that constant presence never could. If they don't, you've gained the clarity needed to move on with dignity and self-respect. In either case, you've taken a powerful step towards reclaiming your power and living in a way that is true to yourself. So, as you navigate these moments, remember that sometimes the most profound changes occur in the quiet spaces between words, in the pauses where reflection happens. Let your absence speak for you, and in doing so, you'll find that your presence becomes even more powerful. Number 2, realization of your value. So let's delve deeper into what happens when your presence is no longer a given, the realization of your true value. Picture this. After the initial shock of your silence fades, they begin to adjust to the new normal. Life moves on, but there's a growing, unshakable feeling that something important is missing. It's not just the absence of your texts or calls, it's the absence of you, your energy, your support, the way you had of making their day just a little bit brighter. This is where the realization of your value begins to take root. In the chaos of daily life, it's easy to overlook the people who are always there, always giving. But when you step back, when you stop pouring your energy into the relationship, they start to notice the void left behind. It's like taking out a key piece of a puzzle. Suddenly, the picture doesn't look quite right anymore. As the days pass, they may find themselves missing the way you listened to them, the thoughtful advice you offered, the laughter you brought into their life. It's in these small, everyday moments that your absence becomes most apparent. They begin to realize that your presence wasn't just background noise in their life. It was a melody that added depth and meaning to their days. And now that melody is gone, leaving behind a stark, uncomfortable silence. This realization often leads to deeper reflection. They begin to ask themselves, why did I take them for granted? What was it about them that made my life better? These questions are the beginning of a shift in their perspective. They start to understand that you weren't just filling space in their life. You were adding something meaningful, something they can't easily replace. Let me illustrate this with a story from modern life. Imagine you have a favorite restaurant that you've been going to for years. You've ordered the same dish so many times that you no longer even think about how much you enjoy it. It's just your go-to meal. But one day you decide to try something new. You order a different dish expecting it to be just as satisfying, but it's not. Suddenly you realize just how much you love that favorite dish, how it always hit the spot in a way nothing else could. That's what happens when you step back from someone's life. They realize that nothing else quite compares to what you brought to the table. This realization of your value isn't just a fleeting thought. It's a profound shift in how they see you and the relationship. They start to recognize that you were a steady source of positivity, support, and joy. And now that you're not there, they feel the impact of your absence in every corner of their life. It's in the quiet moments of their day when they would have reached out to you, in the challenges they now face alone without your comforting words, in the laughs that are no longer shared. They begin to see you as irreplaceable, someone who added richness to their life in a way they hadn't fully appreciated before. As Albert Einstein once said, strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. By stepping back, you're giving them the space to recognize your true value. You're showing them that your presence was a gift, not something to be taken for granted. This isn't about playing games or manipulating emotions. It's about allowing them to see the difference you made in their life and to appreciate it on a deeper level. As they sit with this realization, your absence starts to speak for you. It speaks of your worth, your impact, and the irreplaceable role you played in their life. And this realization can be powerful enough to make them want you back, to reach out, to reconnect, not just because they miss you, but because they now understand your true value. So the next time you find yourself questioning whether stepping back is the right move, remember that sometimes it's in the silence that our greatest truths are revealed. By allowing them the space to feel your absence, you're giving them the opportunity to realize just how much you meant to them. And whether they choose to reach out or not, you've taken a step toward reclaiming your power, toward ensuring that your presence is recognized and valued for what it truly is. It's a lesson in patience, in understanding your worth, and in allowing others to come to their own realizations in their own time. In the end, this realization of your value is not just about them. It's about you and the strength you find in knowing your own worth. Number 3. The void of your presence. Now let's dive into the third experience they might face when you decide to step back. The void of your presence. After they've weathered the initial shock of your silence and begun to realize your true value, what follows is an unsettling awareness of the emptiness your absence creates. This isn't just about missing the daily texts or the regular phone calls. It's about recognizing the deep void that your absence leaves behind in their life. Suddenly, all those small, thoughtful gestures you made, the way you always listened, the comfort you provided by just being there, become glaringly absent. That absence feels like a chasm, a gap they can't quite fill. Imagine this. They go about their daily routine, but something feels off. The usual morning text from you that set a positive tone for their day no longer comes. The inside jokes you once shared now feel hollow because there's no one there to share in the laughter. The comfort of knowing they could turn to you when things got tough has vanished, leaving them to navigate their challenges alone. It's as if the emotional safety net they took for granted has been pulled away, and they're left struggling to find their footing. This void is profound because it's not just about the tangible things you did, but about the essence of who you are. Your presence brought a unique warmth, a sense of connection that's not easily replaced. In your absence, they feel that emptiness more sharply than they ever anticipated. It's like walking into a room that once glowed with light and warmth, only to find it now cold and dark. That emptiness is your void, and it's a void they can't ignore no matter how hard they try. As they begin to navigate this new reality, they might attempt to fill that void by reaching out to others or distracting themselves with various activities. But deep down, they know that nothing and no one quite fits the space you once occupied. Your presence was singular, and now that it's gone, there's a noticeable gap in their life, a gap that serves as a constant reminder of what they've lost. This void isn't just a fleeting feeling. It's a persistent, daily reminder that something significant is missing. As the French philosopher Voltaire wisely said, the art of being happy lies in the power of extracting happiness from common things. Your presence made those common things feel special, brought them joy that they can no longer find now that you're gone. So, as they sit with this void, grappling with the emptiness left in your wake, your absence starts speaking volumes. It reminds them daily of what's missing, the light, the warmth, the connection that only you could provide. And in that void, they come to realize that it's not just anyone they're missing, it's you, with all the unique qualities you brought into their life. Now think about this. Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't fully appreciate someone's presence until they were gone? What did that feel like? Did you find yourself trying to fill that void with other people or activities, only to realize that nothing quite matched what you lost? This is exactly what they're going through now. Your absence is a powerful force, one that makes them rethink what they had and what they let slip away. It's in this void that they might just begin to see the true impact of your presence and start to long for it again, perhaps more intensely than ever before. So, as we wrap up this third point, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's resonating with you so far? Are there specific experiences in your own life that mirror what we've discussed? Drop your questions or comments below, and let's keep this conversation going. If you're finding value in this discussion, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. We're about to explore the next stage of this journey, and trust me, it's going to be even more impactful. Stick around, because we're just getting to the core of how your absence can profoundly shape their perspective and make them realize what they had when they had you. Number 4. The rise of curiosity. Have you ever noticed how curiosity sparks when the familiar suddenly becomes a mystery? As Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Now let's delve into the fourth experience they might face when you step back. The rise of curiosity. After they've navigated the initial shock of your silence, realized your value, and felt the void left by your absence, something fascinating begins to stir within them. They start to get curious. This curiosity isn't just about wondering where you've gone or why you're no longer reaching out. It digs deeper, evolving into a compelling need to understand what's happening in your world now that you're no longer a constant presence in theirs. Picture this scenario. They're scrolling through their phone, only to suddenly realize they haven't heard from you in days, maybe even weeks. Questions start bubbling up in their mind. What are they up to? Are they okay? Are they moving on without me? This curiosity isn't just idle speculation. It quickly morphs into a sort of fascination. They might even start checking your social media more frequently, trying to piece together any clues about what's going on in your life, desperate to satisfy that growing curiosity. The rise of curiosity is powerful because it's a clear signal that they're beginning to see you in a different light. When you were always there, always available, they didn't need to wonder about you. They knew exactly where you were, what you were doing, and how you felt. But now, with your withdrawal, a mystery has formed around you, a sense of intrigue that draws them in, making them yearn to know more. This shift is similar to reading a book and suddenly realizing you have no idea what will happen next. That uncertainty, that unknown, becomes irresistible. Just as Aristotle wisely noted, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. This perfectly captures the essence of their growing curiosity. They start to recognize how much they took for granted, how much they didn't really know about you. With your absence, they become increasingly eager to fill in those gaps, to understand the nuances of your life that they might have overlooked before. Curiosity can be a powerful motivator. It can push them to reach out, to try and reconnect, to rediscover who you are and what you're up to now. In this process, they start to see you not just as the person they once knew, but as someone who is constantly evolving, growing, and becoming more intriguing with each passing day. It's this rise of curiosity that often leads to deeper introspection on their part, where they begin to wonder about the parts of you they never took the time to explore, the interests and passions that make you who you are. In modern life, we often find ourselves caught up in routines, assuming we know everything there is to know about the people in our lives. But when that routine is disrupted, when someone we thought we knew suddenly becomes a mystery, our natural curiosity kicks in. We want to fill in the blanks, to understand the changes, and perhaps to regain the connection we once had. This curiosity, however, doesn't just lead them back to you. It helps them see you with fresh eyes, appreciating the complexities and layers of your personality that they might have previously overlooked. As this curiosity builds, your absence starts to speak volumes, drawing them closer, even though you've taken a step back. It's a subtle but profound shift, where the mystery of your absence becomes a powerful magnet, pulling them in as they seek to understand the person you are becoming, someone who is far more interesting and multifaceted than they ever realized. So, as they wrestle with this newfound curiosity, they'll likely find themselves drawn back into your orbit, not just out of habit, but because they're genuinely intrigued by the changes they perceive in you. In this way, your absence serves a dual purpose. It not only makes them miss the connection you shared, but also forces them to confront the reality that you are someone who is continually growing and evolving, someone whose value increases the more they learn about you. This is a powerful reminder that sometimes stepping back is the most effective way to reignite interest and rekindle the connections that might have grown stagnant. The curiosity they feel is a testament to the fact that you are not just a static figure in their life, but a dynamic and evolving individual whose story is still unfolding. So, the next time you find yourself wondering whether stepping back is the right move, consider this. Curiosity is a natural human response to the unknown, and by creating a little mystery around yourself, you give others the opportunity to rediscover you in a new light. This doesn't just make them miss you, it makes them appreciate you on a deeper level, as they begin to realize that there is always more to learn, more to appreciate, and more to value in the people we care about. What are your thoughts on this? Have you ever experienced someone's curiosity drawing them closer to you after a period of absence? Share your experiences and thoughts in the comments, and let's continue this discussion. Number 5. The growth of longing. Now let's delve into the fifth emotion they might experience when you become absent: the growth of longing. After curiosity has taken root, something even more profound begins to emerge: a sense of deep, persistent longing. This isn't just a fleeting desire to hear from you or see you again. It's a growing and often overwhelming feeling that builds steadily over time. The more they wonder about you, the more they start to miss not just your presence but the unique bond that made your relationship special. Picture this. They're going through their daily routine, but everything around them seems to trigger memories of you. A song playing on the radio that you both used to enjoy, a place you often visited together, or even a simple phrase that brings back something you said. These small, seemingly insignificant reminders start to accumulate, creating a sense of yearning that becomes increasingly difficult to ignore. It's not just the big moments they miss. It's the little, everyday interactions that once seemed so ordinary, but now feel irreplaceable. Longing is a powerful emotion because it grows in the spaces where connection used to be. As the days pass without hearing from you, without feeling your presence, this longing intensifies. It's like trying to quench a thirst that only deepens with time. They start to realize that it's not just the company of another person they miss. They miss you, specifically, with all the qualities that made your presence in their life unique and irreplaceable. Let me share a story from modern life that perfectly illustrates this. Imagine someone who regularly visits a cozy neighborhood cafe. They've been going there for years, enjoying the comfort of the familiar environment, the friendly barista, and their favorite spot by the window. But one day the cafe closes down unexpectedly. At first they think they'll find another place, but no other cafe quite matches the experience. It's not just about the coffee or the ambiance. It's about the feeling of comfort and connection they had in that particular place. That's the kind of longing we're talking about. The realization that what they miss isn't just any cafe, but that cafe, with all the small, personal touches that made it special. This longing, as it grows, forces them to see the relationship in a new light. It gives them a fresh perspective on what you meant to them, making them appreciate all the little things they might have taken for granted before. As the French writer Marcel Proust famously said, The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. This longing provides them with those new eyes, allowing them to see your relationship in a deeper, more meaningful way. They begin to understand just how much your presence added to their life and how much they missed the connection they had with you. As this longing continues to grow, your absence becomes more than just a void. It transforms into an undeniable pull, drawing them back toward the connection they once had with you. It's a pull that speaks louder than words, making them crave the return of what they've lost and realize just how significant that bond was. This is the moment when they begin to understand the full impact of your presence in their life and how much they truly miss not just the relationship, but you, the person who made their world a little brighter, a little warmer, and a lot more meaningful. So, as you navigate the complexities of relationships and the power of absence, ask yourself, how does longing change the way we see the people in our lives? Have you ever experienced a time when absence made you appreciate someone even more? By reflecting on these questions, you can gain deeper insight into how powerful longing can be in reshaping our understanding of relationships. And remember, it's not just about making them miss you. It's about allowing them the space to realize your true value, to see you with fresh eyes, and to feel the undeniable pull that only deep, personal longing can create. As you think about these ideas, consider how you can apply them in your own life. If this resonates with you, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next part of this journey. We're just getting started, and there's so much more to explore about the power of absence in shaping relationships and perceptions. Number 6. The sting of regret. Now let's talk about the sixth emotion they might experience when you become absent, the sting of regret. As their curiosity about you deepens and the longing for your presence intensifies, a more painful and powerful emotion begins to surface: regret. This isn't just a fleeting thought or a mild sense of what if. It's a sharp, unsettling realization that they may have taken you for granted, that they didn't fully appreciate you when they had the chance, and this realization can sting deeply. Picture this. They find themselves alone, reflecting on the times you spent together. Out of nowhere, it hits them. Those moments when you reached out, offered support, or made sacrifices that they barely acknowledged at the time now stand out starkly in their memory. Maybe they dismissed your concerns, overlooked your efforts, or simply assumed you'd always be there, no matter what. But now, in the silence of your absence, they see those moments with new clarity, and the weight of their past actions, or inactions, begins to weigh heavily on them. Regret often brings with it a flood of if-only thoughts. If only I had been more attentive. If only I had reciprocated their efforts. If only I had valued them as much as they deserved. These thoughts are painful because they're tied to missed opportunities to show you how much you meant to them, to build a stronger connection, or to address issues before they spiraled out of control. The sting of regret isn't just about feeling sorry. It's about the realization that they let something valuable slip through their fingers, that they missed out on something irreplaceable. They start to wonder how things might have been different if they had acted differently, if they had put in the effort to nurture the relationship instead of taking it for granted. It's a sobering realization that often leaves them with a profound sense of loss, one that is hard to shake. This is where the words of Søren Kierkegaard resonate deeply. Regret is a sharp-edged sword, not always useful but always felt. This emotion cuts deep because it's tied to the irreversible nature of the past. They can't go back and change what's already been done, and that awareness can lead to a painful feeling of helplessness and sorrow. However, regret doesn't have to be a purely negative force. It can also serve as a catalyst for change. It can prompt them to reevaluate their priorities, to recognize the true importance of what they've lost, and to strive to make amends if there's still a chance. This sting of regret is often what drives them to reach out, to apologize, or to attempt to rekindle what's been lost. Your absence begins to speak volumes, sending a clear message. You should have valued me when you had the chance. This realization can be powerful enough to motivate them to reflect deeply on their past actions and possibly seek to make things right before it's too late. But let me ask you this. Have you ever felt that sharp sting of regret for not appreciating someone or something until it was gone? How did that realization change your perspective? And what did you do about it? These questions aren't just theoretical. They're a vital part of understanding how regret can reshape our relationships and decisions. By considering these questions, you can gain a deeper insight into how powerful regret can be as a motivator for change, and how it can push people to reevaluate what truly matters in their lives. In modern life, we're often so caught up in the hustle and bustle that we fail to appreciate what we have until it's no longer there. But regret serves as a wake-up call, reminding us of the value of what we've lost and urging us to take action. Whether it's reaching out to someone we've drifted apart from, making amends for past mistakes, or simply acknowledging the importance of our relationships, regret can be a powerful force for personal growth and transformation. So, as you reflect on the dynamics of your own relationships, consider how you might prevent the sting of regret from becoming a permanent scar. What can you do today to show the people in your life that you value them? How can you ensure that you won't look back with regret on the choices you've made? If this content resonates with you, I encourage you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation and learn from one another. Number 7. The intrigue of mystery. The seventh thing they might feel when you become absent: the intrigue of mystery. As time passes without you, something interesting begins to take shape. They start to see you through a completely different lens, one that's shrouded in mystery. When you were always around, always available, they knew exactly what to expect from you, and that predictability was comforting. But now that you've stepped back, you've become somewhat of an enigma, and this newfound mystery is incredibly intriguing. Think about this. They suddenly realize they no longer know what's going on in your life. You're not sharing your daily thoughts, your plans, or your feelings like you used to. Suddenly, you're not as predictable as you once were, and this unpredictability ignites their curiosity even further. They start to wonder, what are you doing? Who are you spending time with? What new experiences are you having without me? This line of questioning creates a sense of intrigue that is both captivating and unsettling for them. The intrigue of mystery is powerful because it completely flips the dynamic of your relationship. Instead of you being the one who's always reaching out, sharing your life and making the effort to stay connected, you've now become the one they want to figure out. You're no longer an open book. You've become a complex character in their story, one with layers that they never took the time to explore before. It's like when a beloved character in a novel suddenly reveals hidden depths. Your absence adds a richness to how they perceive you, making them want to know more about who you really are and what's going on beneath the surface. As Oscar Wilde famously said, "The truth is rarely pure and never simple." This idea perfectly captures the essence of mystery. You've transformed from being the person they thought they knew inside and out to someone with layers, complexities, and a life that continues to unfold, even without them in it. This transformation doesn't just make you more intriguing. It also makes them question their own understanding of you. They start to realize that maybe they never really knew you as well as they thought, and this realization can be both fascinating and disconcerting. In modern life, where everything is often so transparent and available at the click of a button, mystery has a unique power. It creates a space where people are drawn to what they can't immediately understand or access. By stepping back and allowing some distance, you create a void that they're naturally inclined to fill with their thoughts, questions, and speculations. This sense of mystery makes your absence more than just a physical or emotional gap. It becomes a compelling puzzle they feel driven to solve. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The more they try to figure you out, the more they realize that they're actually more drawn to you now than they were when you were fully present in their life. This shift can be incredibly powerful, as it turns the tables in a subtle but significant way. Instead of you pursuing them, they're now the ones who are curious, the ones who want to reconnect, and the ones who feel the pull to bridge the gap that's been created. So, as this sense of mystery continues to grow, your absence starts to speak for you in ways that are both subtle and profound. It makes them wonder about the new dimensions of your life, about the changes you've gone through, and about who you've become in the time that you've been apart. This intrigue can become a powerful force, drawing them back toward you with a renewed interest and a deeper appreciation for the person you are, someone who is not just predictable and familiar, but someone who is evolving, growing, and endlessly fascinating. And now, let me ask you, how do you feel when someone you thought you knew becomes a mystery? Does it make you want to learn more about them? Or does it leave you feeling uncertain and curious? These are important questions to consider as you think about the role that mystery plays in relationships and how it can be a powerful tool for rekindling connections that may have grown stale. By embracing the power of mystery, you're not just making them miss you, you're making them see you in a whole new light, one that's filled with possibilities and potential. As you reflect on these ideas, think about how you can use the intrigue of mystery in your own life. How can you create a sense of depth and complexity that draws others in? And how can you ensure that the people in your life continue to see you as someone who is constantly evolving, growing, and worth knowing? As you reflect on these ideas, think about how you can use the intrigue of mystery in your own life. How can you create a sense of depth and complexity that draws others in? And how can you ensure that the people in your life continue to see you as someone who is constantly evolving, growing, and worth knowing? And if you found this discussion valuable, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more insights on how to navigate the complexities of relationships with wisdom and mindfulness. We're just scratching the surface, and there's so much more to explore. Number 8. The power of reflection. Let's explore the 8th experience they might have when you step back, the power of reflection. After going through the initial shock of silence, the rise of curiosity, and the sting of regret, they inevitably reach a place where deep reflection begins to take hold. This isn't just a fleeting thought that crosses their mind. It's a significant period where they truly start to think about the relationship, about you, and most importantly, about themselves. Your absence creates a space for them to reflect on everything that's happened. What worked, what didn't, and perhaps most crucially, what they may have overlooked. They find themselves alone with their thoughts, replaying the memories you shared together. They think about the conversations you had, the support you offered, and those moments when they might not have given you the attention or appreciation you deserved. This time of reflection often brings clarity, helping them see the relationship not just as it was, but as it could have been if they had put in more effort, shown more care, or been more understanding. Reflection is a powerful tool because it allows them to view things from a different perspective. They begin to recognize their own shortcomings, times when they were too focused on themselves, too wrapped up in their own world, to truly notice how much you were contributing to theirs. During this period, they may realize that they didn't just miss out on your presence. They missed out on the opportunity to build something even stronger with you. This reflection can also lead to a newfound self-awareness. They start to see patterns in their behavior, maybe even recognizing that they've made similar mistakes in past relationships. It's a moment of personal growth where they begin to understand that your absence is more than just a temporary gap. It's an opportunity for them to learn and possibly change. As the philosopher Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." This period of reflection compels them to examine not only their life but also their choices, and how those choices have shaped their relationships. It's a time of introspection that can lead to a deeper understanding of themselves and of you. They start to see how their actions or inactions may have contributed to the current situation, and this realization can be both humbling and enlightening. In modern life, we often get so caught up in the daily grind that we don't take the time to truly reflect on our relationships. We move from one interaction to the next, without pausing to consider how our behavior affects others or what we could do differently. Your absence forces them to break out of this cycle, to stop and really think about what they had with you and what they could have had if things had gone differently. This reflection doesn't just make them miss you more, it provokes deeper thought, fosters personal growth, and encourages them to truly appreciate the value of what they had with you. It's through this period of reflection that they might come to understand that their life was richer with you in it, and that the lessons they've learned from your absence could lead to meaningful changes if they ever have the chance to reconnect with you. So let me ask you, how often do you take the time to reflect on your own relationships? Do you see patterns in your behavior that could be improved? Reflection isn't just about looking back. It's about learning from the past to build a better future. If you can embrace this process, you'll find that it not only helps you understand others better, but also gives you valuable insights into yourself. And perhaps in this process of reflection, both you and those who miss you will discover a path to a stronger, more meaningful connection. Number 9. The magnetism of self-sufficiency. As they confront the void left by your absence, they begin to perceive you in a completely new light. You're no longer the person who was always available, always giving, always ready to drop everything at a moment's notice. Instead, you've evolved into someone who is independent, self-sufficient, and strong in your own right. This newfound self-sufficiency is not only powerful, but incredibly magnetic. Think about this. They notice that you're not falling apart without them. In fact, they see that you're thriving. You're pursuing your passions, engaging in activities that bring you joy, and living your life to the fullest. This realization can be a pivotal moment for them. Suddenly, you're not just the person they used to know. You've become someone who has grown, evolved, and become even more compelling in their absence. There's an undeniable attraction to a person who doesn't need external validation to feel complete. When they witness you embracing your self-sufficiency, it challenges their previous perceptions of you. Perhaps they once thought you relied on them for your happiness, but now they see that you're perfectly capable of creating your own joy, regardless of whether they're in the picture or not. This self-sufficiency can stir a mix of emotions in them. On one hand, they might feel a twinge of regret for not recognizing your strength earlier. On the other hand, they might find themselves even more drawn to you, fascinated by your ability to stand tall and flourish independently. It's as if you've transformed into a beacon of independence, radiating confidence and self-assuredness, and that's something they simply can't ignore. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Self-reliance is the height of man." Your self-sufficiency isn't just about being independent. It's about embodying a level of maturity and inner strength that is undeniably attractive. They begin to realize that you're not just surviving without them, you're thriving, and this makes them understand just how much they underestimated your resilience and capability. This magnetism of self-sufficiency can also lead them to question their own sense of self. They may start to reflect on whether they've been too reliant on others for their happiness and whether they could learn something valuable from your approach to life. Your ability to flourish on your own becomes a silent but powerful reminder that true strength comes from within, and that's something they may now admire in you more than ever before. So as they witness your self-sufficiency in action, your absence begins to speak volumes about your strength, resilience, and independence. It makes them realize that you're not just someone who can stand on your own, you're someone who can shine on your own. And that kind of self-reliance isn't just admirable, it's magnetic. It draws them in, not out of pity or concern, but out of a genuine respect for the person you've become. Now let me ask you, how do you feel when you see someone who is thriving on their own? Does it inspire you to cultivate your own self-sufficiency? These are important questions to ponder as you navigate your own path. Self-sufficiency is more than just being independent. It's about recognizing your own worth, building your life on your own terms, and becoming someone who is strong, not because of others, but because of who you are. This is a journey that not only makes you more attractive to others, but also allows you to live a life that is fulfilling and true to yourself. As you think about these ideas, consider how you can incorporate self-sufficiency into your own life. What steps can you take to become more independent, more resilient, and more confident in your own abilities? Number 10. The desire for reconnection. Have you ever felt the pull to reconnect with someone after realizing how much they meant to you? As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." After they've weathered the storm of silence, come to terms with the realization of your value, felt the void left by your absence, and been drawn in by the magnetism of your newfound self-sufficiency, they find themselves at a crucial juncture. All these swirling emotions, curiosity, longing, regret, reflection, culminate in an overwhelming desire to reconnect with you. This isn't just a fleeting wish or a simple longing. It's a deep, powerful urge that builds as they consider the impact your absence has had on their life. Think about this. They've spent days, perhaps weeks or even months, reflecting on what they had with you and what they lost. The more they ponder it, the more apparent it becomes that your absence has created a void that nothing else seems to fill. The people they've met, the activities they've tried to immerse themselves in, none of it compares to the connection they once had with you. This realization isn't just about missing the good times. It's about recognizing that what they had with you was unique, something that can't be easily replicated with anyone else. This growing awareness leads to a powerful desire to bridge the gap, to reach out, and to bring you back into their life. The desire for reconnection goes beyond just nostalgia for the past. It's fueled by the understanding that the relationship with you was irreplaceable, offering a sense of completeness, joy, and fulfillment that they now crave to experience again. But here's the interesting part. This desire for reconnection isn't just about wanting to go back to how things were. It's driven by the person you've become in their absence. They're not just longing for the person they knew before, they're intrigued by the stronger, more self-assured version of you that has emerged during this time apart. Your independence, your resilience, and your ability to thrive on your own have made you even more attractive in their eyes. They now see you as someone who is not only desirable because of the shared history, but also because of the growth and transformation you've undergone since then. This makes the idea of reconnecting with you even more compelling, as they imagine what it would be like to rebuild the relationship on a foundation that's stronger and wiser than before. As they sit with this desire, they start to picture what it would be like to reach out, to open the lines of communication once more. They might imagine the conversations you could have now, the deeper and more meaningful exchanges that would come from the wisdom and experiences you've both gained. This desire for reconnection becomes a powerful motivator, pushing them to consider making the first move, whether that's reaching out to apologize, to express what they've learned, or simply to see where you both stand now. F. Scott Fitzgerald once wrote, "There are all kinds of love in this world, but never the same love twice." They realized that what they had with you was special, and the possibility of rekindling that connection, of creating something new and even better than before, becomes an irresistible pull. It's not about trying to recreate the past, but about building something new, something that incorporates growth, the lessons learned, and the deeper understanding of what truly matters. This moment of realization, this powerful desire for reconnection, is where all the emotions they've experienced, curiosity, longing, regret, reflection, come together. It's a moment where they must decide whether to act on this desire or let it pass by. And it's in this moment that they might realize that reconnecting with you could be the key to unlocking a new chapter in their life, one that's richer, more meaningful, and built on a foundation of mutual respect and growth. So I ask you, have you ever found yourself at a crossroads, wondering whether to reconnect with someone who meant the world to you? What would you say if you had the chance to start anew? These are the kinds of questions that help us understand the true value of our connections and the importance of taking action when we feel that pull to reconnect. As we wrap up this journey through understanding how your absence can profoundly impact others, I encourage you to take these Stoic principles and apply them to your daily life. Embrace the power of self-sufficiency, reflection, and the understanding that sometimes stepping back can create a space for growth, not just for you, but for those around you. By living with intention and purpose, you can cultivate relationships that are meaningful and grounded in mutual respect. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to reflect and share your thoughts in the comments below. What changes will you make in your life to ensure your presence is truly valued? Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Stoic in Your Life, and share this video with someone who could benefit from these insights. Remember, your absence can speak volumes. Let it be a voice of strength and wisdom. See you in the next video.